Hey everybody, it's Tom Ferry. Welcome to our first episode of Real Talk, where I get to sit down with the industry movers and shakers and find out what's on their mind to have you become more informed, more empowered, and at the end of the day, be the expert in your marketplace because you're just getting the information you need to stand out in this very crowded space. So we're doing this live, we're doing it on Facebook, I think we're also on Instagram, we're probably also on Twitter, and of course, ultimately this is on YouTube. So whether you're watching us live or you're watching this later, thank you for being a part of this experience. And I want to introduce my guest. If you've been in the real estate business for, I'm going to say more than 2 or 3 years, certainly if you've been in the business for 20 or 30 years, you know Stefan Swanepoel as the guy that I think I described this morning when I said, he's the Nostradamus of real estate. He is the guy that says, this is where it's going. If you remember a few weeks ago, we did a wonderful interview with our friend Steve Harney, who I refer to as the Oracle of real estate, who really gives us the talking points to be effective with buyers and sellers. Stefan, in my opinion, you can kind of take your real estate library card, throw it in the trash, because he studies the industry like no one else and does a magnificent job codifying everything that's happening. So today we're going to talk about trends. We might maybe use the word fear. We're going to talk about the future. We're going to talk about how do we serve the customer better? How do you be a better business person? So with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, Stefan Swanepoel.
Well, that is a big introduction. Nostradamus, I'm not sure. So I cannot predict the future, but
Yes.
but I do agree with you that the more homework you do, the more you research, the better you have knowledge which you can use to interpret what the likelihood is of things happening. So yes, we have a pretty good handle on the industry. We're
Yes.
proud to say that. But then again, if I could return the compliment, you are an exceptional coach, and really this is live on Facebook and
Yes.
Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. You must be the first person in real estate to do this kind of online, live, everywhere kind of a feed.
Look, at the end of the day, it's having a magnificent team, and it's also realizing, thank you, it's know your customer. So share with them, maybe for the people that don't have the kind of rich context that I have. I mean, when I started this company 14 years ago, this was probably the 5th phone call I got, but one of the most significant phone calls. Hey, Tom Ferry, let's talk. And we walked Balboa Island, and you shared your experience in real estate. Would you take just a minute or two and give them some context for who you are beyond just the research?
Oh, wow. Ouch. Cliff Note version. I have been CEO of a real estate company 3 times. I have started twice. I have built a real estate company up from 0 offices to 120 offices in 18 months.
Which countries?
I have done real estate, practiced real estate, and physically managed a company both in Africa as well as the US, as well as in California. I have physically visited for real estate purposes and speaking and consulting, Australia, New Zealand, England, South Africa, South America, Canada extensively. So I've been around a lot of places. Mm-hmm. I've run a franchise as big as 26,000 agents, so from small startups to big. I've been CEO of a National Realtor Association. I've been CEO of an MLS. I've written 36 books as of a week or 2 ago. So it changes every 90 days. Done probably about 1,400 presentations, probably wrote 300, 400, 500 business plans for companies, and been involved with, I would say just about 99% of the top 500 of everything in our space.
Yes. I mean, so my friends, this is a treat. We know each other, we get to spend time together, but I really wanted to share them with you because you get to talk to agents, but it's not your primary focus.
No, by no means.
And you know me, what I want is I want to have the most empowered, most intelligent, most prepared real estate professionals on the planet to serve the customers.
Big goal.
It is a big goal, but that's how we roll. So you do an event called T3. It happened last week.
Yep.
Could you share with them who's there? And this is a big question. What were the 2 to 3 most important takeaways that a broker might be watching, a team leader might be watching, and maybe a brand new agent in real estate watching? What were the big 3 takeaways from your event?
Big questions. Yeah, we are, as a company, we don't focus on agents. We understand that you're the key part of the industry. You're the guy where the rubber meets the road and you make it happen. But the market which we serve is that 1% of the leadership that basically keeps, manages, leads, and prepares the industry to function. So whether that is on a franchise side, an independent side, a brokerage side, the multiple listing side, the tech vendor side, the association, whether it's national, state, or local, doesn't matter. Those leaders that basically, I don't want to say dare run our industry, because they don't really run our industry, but they lead, they manage our industry. So the T3 Summit is their event. It is the event where the media is not there. There's no vendors, no sales pitches, no pay-to-play, no trade exhibitions, no marketing, no flyers. It is purely just people like you, people like the people that head up the big franchises, the associations. This is where the CEOs and other C-suite leaders come together to think tank. It's their place where they get a chance to do what you can do with him. They get to come and do that with me. So we try and find the big issues, the issues that cross brands, companies, state lines,
MLSs, associations, portals, everything.
Yep. So it's where they come to not only learn, because we do the research and we deliver that research, but where they come to network with each other, to find out the commonalities between problems and issues and challenges, and where we bring the key people to them to discuss. I mean, we specifically don't bring people that have spoken at your event or an Inman event or a NAR event, because that's not their leadership group. So we try to find the next thing, the not necessarily the best next wonderful thing, but the things that are critical, important, the things that are shaping. And if we take things that are knowledgeable to you as well, we would look at why is it happening? To what extent is it happening? How is it going to impact all the players in this space?
Yes.
So we try to take that very deep dive, which you often can't take at a convention where there's selling going on the whole time, and there's lots of white noise, and then there's lots of vendors, and the media's in and out, and agents come running out. We don't actually allow agents to come to our event. In most cases, we focus just on the leadership of the industry.
So with all of that said, and that was a beautiful description of what goes on there, because it is I've been every year except for just this last event, which is still upsetting me. So I want this maybe for myself. What were those two to three big things that were on the minds of the leadership of the real estate industry, and maybe how it relates to, again, agent, individual, someone watching this right now?
We spent time with some outside speakers, people like the former CEO of Whole Foods, the kind of people to say, how do you lead at that high level? It's hard, it's difficult. How do you find balance? Is balance even possible? What does balance mean? How do you build a team? Not just on the team which you guys are talking about, which is very, very important, but how do you build a team when you're the CEO and you're looking for a CFO or CMO or an IT guy? How do you build that team? How do you stay focused? The same stuff that you teach the agents.
Yes.
We're trying to help empower the leaders to do that same step, but at a smaller level right at the top. So we spent a lot of time in leadership. Yes, we looked at some of the changes. As you well know, you and I have had a good discussion. Many of the big franchises, some of the big independents, a National Association of Realtors.
We're going to get into all of that stuff.
Oh,
it's
cool.
going to be super interesting.
The Canada Real Estate Association.
Yes.
Leadership at the moment is stepping down. Not because there's anything wrong, but many of them have been in those leadership positions 2-3 decades, and they've reached a station in their life where they'd like to maybe retire, or step onto other things.
Yes.
So how does an organization handle it when you lose 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people at that level?
Big figureheads. Big figureheads.
So we discussed the changes that NAR taking place. We discussed data, MLSs. Lots of consolidation happening. How is that going to happen? How does it function? Is it merger? Is it acquisition? Who's impacted? How do the brokers play a role into that? So that was discussed extensively. And then
Are there any fear that or points that should be important to someone? Because I'm about to talk about home buying and selling in the next 5 years. That's my next question. I want to tease them a little bit. But speak to the agent on MLSs. What should they be prepared for?
You threw in the word for a second there, fear.
Fear is the wrong word.
Yeah, no, but it's a good word because our industry is paranoid.
Well, it's change. Change creates anxiety, so...
Whole time. And when you read the media, often you get that sense of end of times.
Yes.
And I simply just don't believe in end of times. I mean, the industry is not coming to an end.
No.
Yes, there's change. Yes, there's innovation. Yes, there's creation. And yes, in the process, certain realtors, certain structures, certain companies, certain associations, certain MLSs need to reinvent themselves.
Yes.
And that's important. You help facilitate that. I help facilitate that. So we are both in favor of innovating yourself.
Yes.
We encourage that, yes, innovation. But that doesn't mean that you should ever be scared. You should be knowledgeable. You should research. You should be empowered. You should stay current with change. You should have a coach, a mentor, a trainer. You should have a team. You should be progressive in your thinking, but not scared. Scared's not the right word. Jump to your second question. You said MLSs. MLSs.
What should they be aware of? What's coming soon to their MLS?
So in the last 2 years, we have been consolidating. I say we, I don't mean me per se, I mean the industry. We've been consolidating maybe 3 MLSs roughly per month, every month. So that's not quite one a week, but close to one a week. We think that actually the momentum is going to pick up. We think that we are probably going to move to 4 or 5 or 6 per month. So probably maybe in a year close to 100.
So we're going to get eventually to, in 5 years.
The number's coming down. The number's coming down.
Are we going to have one MLS?
No, I don't think so. We've probably just broken the 700 number. So we're in the 690 something number. But even if you were to consolidate, call it 50 to 100 per year, we're still talking about a 5 to 10 year exercise to get to one.
Is that power to the people? Like for our friends watching, is that going to give them more power, better access, greater access, serve their clients more effectively?
I think that technology and multiple listing services, through the fact that you now have broadband and internet and you have connectivity anywhere, anytime, you have mobility, I think information, those silos of information which existed many, many years ago, I think they're slowly merging.
Yes.
Now, many people would say it's not happening fast enough.
I agree.
Should happen faster. The industry moves slowly. There are a lot of pieces, whether you're looking at title or escrow or mortgage or associations or MLSs or brokerage companies, or just the number of real estate professionals. There are a lot of players in the space. So I think in that space, yes, consolidation is happening. And every time you have innovation, when you have outside companies, Zillow. You have a Zillow, you have a Trulia, you have a Realtor.com. You have some of the other technology companies, the BombBombs and the Boomtowns and the Playsters and the Real Estate Webmasters.
Yep.
Those are all innovations.
Yes.
They come in with a great idea, they push, and then they hit against the existing establishment, right? And they find out, oh, this is harder than I thought. Everybody's resisting. And we then have to gradually power through the legacy systems that lie behind. We are on the right track. It is slow.
Yes.
It is slow.
Yes. All right, let's talk about the future.
The future.
So one of the questions that was asked was, how do you think the home buying and selling process is going to change over the next 5 to 10 years? I'd really pay attention here, peeps. And if you're watching on Facebook, heart it up, give me some thumbs up if you want to know more about home buying and selling in the future, the next 5 to 10 years. What advice?
So I'm a big believer that I do not think that the real estate professional or the realtor who's a member of the National Association of Realtors is destined for extinction anytime soon. I can find no information to validate that. Now remember, 2 or 3 years ago, I was commissioned by the National Association of Realtors to write the danger report with no editorial control on their side. We were able to publish whatever we found. Talk, no action. So I can't find any action that is removing the realtor from the transaction. Shaping them, yes. Changing them, yes. Becoming more professional, yes. Doing more transactions, yes. Consolidating, yes. Growing of teams, yes. Maybe using the web and technology better and more efficiently, yes. Higher levels of customer service and maybe even more professionalism, yes, yes, and yes. Going away, no. The indications are that the consumer, in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, is still looking for guidance, advice, counseling, influence, information that they receive, but they don't know how to interpret it.
Bingo.
They're saying, wow, overload, right, I've got too much stuff.
Walk scores, pricing of 10 years.
What does it mean?
Yeah, how do I interpret this?
Here's 20 websites which give me 20 pieces of information and they contradict to each other.
Do you think the commission model will change in real estate?
Yeah, I do, unfortunately. So I do think that there is pressure, generally speaking. The population as a whole would always want something at a cheaper, lower price. Now, again, that's not everybody.
Yes.
But people like to have a sale. People like to have some kind of reduction.
But don't you think that there's always going to be room for the Walmart and then the Nordstroms or the Neiman Marcus experience, even on a brokerage level?
I agree with that, absolutely. But there are lots of models in between.
Yes.
So between the Walmart model and the Nordstrom's model, there is an Amazon model.
Yes.
Right? So there are other variations in between. And I think our industry will be the beneficiary of multiple models for a long time. So when you say 5 years, change, but nothing to worry about at all.
Yes. So 5 years, no change. 10 years?
You're getting further out there. I think some of the technologies that are currently being funded and tested, we'll have to first see, do they survive the test of time?
Yes.
Do they get to critical mass? Do they have the right leadership? And do existing companies adapt to counter them to such an extent that their innovative model maybe is no longer that innovative because it has been surpassed or sort of eclipsed by existing models? But I would say there are numerous existing models. Super interesting.
Yes.
Super interesting. Everything from virtual online models to discount models to maybe some kind of a fee rebatement kind of a model to a shop which they will take you for a lower fee, maybe a lower service. I don't want to use some of the negative words.
You might be creating anxiety right now with some of the people that are watching.
No, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Okay, so again, it's innovate or die, right? It's Darwinian. Like you're going to continue to, if we're friends, you're going to continue to evolve. But again, remember, we went 10 years.
And that's a good thing.
Yes, we went 10 years out. 5 years, no major changes, maybe a few model adjustments.
None of the changes are going to happen so suddenly and so quickly that you'll be caught off guard. You will get a warning by physically staying in touch with, I don't know, commercial time, Tom Ferry, but by staying in touch with Tom Ferry, by staying in touch and reading things we publish, we track the changes and you can see it happening. If you have a very high picture, it looks like it's happening fast. It's actually not happening that fast. You will get more than enough time to adapt, innovate, reposition.
Yes.
And it's not the guy at the top of the pile that's being attacked. Guys, you know that everything gets divided into quartiles, the top quartile and the bottom quartile.
Wait. The ladies at the top that sell all the houses and then everybody else?
Yes. And if you're in the first quadrant or the second quadrant, if you stay current, if you stay educated, if you stay productive, if you match your goals, if you stay what you're supposed to do, you're okay. It's the bottom quadrant that is going to be attacked first. So I think we're okay.
So you said earlier consolidation of agents, and I have always been of the opinion that an agent should have to sell a minimum standard, a number of transactions to maintain their license, to maintain goodwill in the community. If you're selling a house every now and then, you make me nervous, right? Not saying those people are bad people, and there might be somebody watching this right now that's brand new or is in year 15 and something happened in their life. I'm not referring to that. But I think there only should be 400,000 or 500,000 agents in the US. What are your thoughts on that?
I think our current licensing model, which allows you to pass a relatively, in my opinion, too low a bar to become licensed, and then to keep that license, depending which state you are in, for as high as 4 years in some states, is a too easy barrier to entry and a too easy barrier to maintain your license. And because so many people have a second career, second job, they are maybe a part-time spouse where their primary spouse is earning the primary income, and they are doing, maybe they're the housewife or the house husband, and they're simply just doing this task as a very supplementary income. Those statistics skew all of our numbers. So when you look at average stats, all of our numbers give the picture which you want. You tell me the answer you want, I'll get you that answer.
Yeah.
So the stats, they lie. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're skewed. If you're talking about the real professionals that you say full-time, committed, want to do this, I want to do this at the top of my game, that's not a bad number. That is not a bad number.
I agree.
3, 4, 500,000, that's not a bad number.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically everybody above $100,000 in GCI is kind of the way I look at the market. So let's go super granular for a second. What can agents do better to be ahead of the curve when it comes to technology?
Ahead of the curve.
This is an innovative. They're watching on 2 or 3 different platforms right now and commenting and
at the same time while they're driving and doing a sale.
Thank you very much. Right, and they're listing properties as we speak. So what are 2 or 3 things that if you were to say, boy, I'd be paying attention to this and this over the next 18 months when it comes to technology? They want to be ahead of the curve.
So I'm going to give you a surprising one as a first one, which is not actually a piece of technology, but it is technology related. I'm going to ask whoever you are watching this call or listening to this call today. Firstly, thank you for doing that. Thank you very much. Whatever technology you decide to use, select, you go to a conference, you go to a Ferry conference, you go to an NAR conference, you walk the trade floor, and you saw a new shiny toy, and you picked the shiny toy. Go and implement the shiny toy. we get squirreled away and distracted way too easily. So don't go from one initiative, one toy, one widget to another, to another, to another. Our biggest failure as a people, as a realtor, as an industry, is that we get distracted too quickly. If you just go and implement and follow through with whatever you've decided to use, a lot of the technology which we have, we mentioned some of the vendors just now, they're all great companies.
Yes.
They're all great companies. And you shouldn't think that that technology of that company is going to be the winning silver bullet which is going to solve all your problems. Every piece of technology, hardware, software, or otherwise, has its own flaws and its own growth steps. Implement the software is probably your biggest step. Follow through. All right, then if you said, what other areas are super cool?
People are talking bots and AIs and how is that gonna, I see all that 5 years out, 7 years out, 10 years out, so. VR, it's there today. I have one, my kids love it for a day and they're like, I'm getting sick while I'm doing this now. Is that how real estate's gonna be sold?
I think it was at your conference last year where I gave a talk about 60 minutes about the future of innovative technologies. And most certainly augmented reality, blended reality, virtual reality, robots, any kind of smart devices, smart fridges, some kind of integration, motion control, motion fusion, artificial intelligence, AI, software learning or learning curve. Machine learning. All of that is super exciting. I'm fascinated by it. We look at it, we write about it, but it's not here yet.
Yes.
It is here at a super early stage. It is being rolled out maybe in prototypes, maybe in early stuff. I don't generally think that it is mainstream yet, and it hasn't really reached our industry that it's going to have a big influence. You have companies like Real Scout that is using machine learning. So it's starting to filter through in some places, early stages. Look at it, be fascinated by it, read it, don't be scared. Don't be worried.
And then call your past clients in Sphere and send them text messages and be in communication. Know what they are, because when the clients start talking about it, you better know what they are.
Yes, you must be knowledgeable about it, absolutely. But you don't have to be first with every single piece of technology. Make sure that you're in the first quadrant. Make sure you're in the top 5%, top 10%, whatever it is. You don't have to be first.
All right, so one sort of big question. You are known as the trend guy. You're the guy, I mean, like every year, I get the book, I go on a long flight someplace, I read it cover to cover, I'm highlighting it, you know, I'm trying to figure out how do I best position our clients for these trends. Some of them not as relatable to them because you're talking about the entire industry, but the number one trend this year, very relatable to everybody watching. So what are the 2 to 3 most important trends they should be thinking about today as it pertains to their business? We've talked technology, we don't need MLSs.
So every year we identify the 10 most significant activities, strategies, trends, shifts, innovations happening. And then we say, does it have legs?
Yes.
Does it have brains behind it? Does it have money behind it? Can it cross state lines? Do we think this is going to stick? Is it going to carry over to the next year? And if we say no, we throw it off the list. If we think yes, we go like, deep dive time.
Yeah, dig
dive.
deeper.
Then we take a deep dive into that product and we find out everything we can. Every player, every vendor, whoever plays in that space. And then we put it together and then we say, wow, we have so much information, too much to handle. How do we get it down to kind of an executive summary kind of stuff? How do you condense this back into a nice, easy, readable, 60,000 words, right?
Yes.
How do you put it into 200 pages? So the top 10 trends for this year, in no particular order, you said leave out the MLSs. I would say number 3, probably platforms.
Yep.
I think that
Zillow, Trulia, Boomtown, Playster,
maybe
big
CoreLogic,
software,
maybe
CoreLogic, Black Knight,
yes.
right? Exactly.
There's multiple players in that space.
Yes.
People are understanding that software, whether it's mobile or applications, are no longer just in one bucket or one silo. They no longer just do 1 or 2 functions. They're starting to branch out and cross. And you need a platform, whether it's on top of this, an umbrella, or something beneath it to start it up. But you need something which is the backbone of your company, the kind of the engine.
We're almost talking like MIS, like management information systems. Like this is how I run my business, right?
Example.
I use this and it runs everything. So
you need
platforms.
you need a platform that basically almost plug and play, that you can plug the other stuff into it, and you can, like you would if you use, let's say, Apple, you can drop and drag something from one application to another application. We need to be able to do that more in real estate, where you can interchange data from one MLS to a franchise, back to an independent, to your coaching system, maybe to the National Association of Realtors, to my local state, let's say the Houston Association of Realtors. You got to be able to do that. We can't do that yet. So there are enough smart people that get that, they know that, and everybody would like to be the switch. Everybody would like to be that platform. So we have, let's say, a dozen companies which are really seriously vying for that space. It's still going to take 3-5 years before we see who's the most likely winner in that space.
So platform one, like, what is your management information system? What are you running your business on? And please don't say Outlook, right? Like, just to be clear. So what's number two? Number
two of importance, I would probably say, understand that the real estate business model, every 3, 4, 5 decades, really tends to start evolving, and then it starts reinventing itself. The franchise was a way to expand real estate in the 1970s, which basically changed real estate. The RE/MAX, the 100% concept, or the management fee kind of concept, was a new concept. Realogy really refined the art of M&A work, right? How do you buy companies and fold them in and grow? Keller Williams has introduced more transparency, team, money growing kind of tree concept. These new models, every time when they come in, they don't destroy the rest of the market. Your business isn't gone.
No.
But it impacts your business. All of these companies, when they came into the market share, they had zero. And after a decade, they started having tens of thousands of agents. And after 2 decades, those 4 companies which we've mentioned, let's say, I think who was first? Century 21 was the first company ever to go to 100,000, then RE/MAX, then Coldwell Banker, now Keller. So we've only had 4 companies ever go to 100,000. Now, 100,000 isn't a magical number. It doesn't mean that feet on the street is the biggest count that you should. Of course, GCI and profitability, super, super important. But we don't always have all of those stats. They're sometimes private companies, they don't always share. So feet on the street is it's an easy number to compare because you can get that number easier. So 4 companies have reached that, I call it magical 100,000 number. I would say there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There would maybe be about 4 companies today that I say could potentially reach that number by 2022 to 2025. So 5 to 7 years out, I think there are 4 companies that have that in their sights.
Do not name them.
No, I won't do that.
Do not name them. They're all like, wait, we want this to be named. Yes. Those are exactly the 4.
No, we won't name them. That wouldn't be nice.
That wouldn't be fair.
But so there are companies which are always evolving. That doesn't mean that they have the silver bullet. It does mean that...
And size doesn't always matter. No. Right? Not to the agent watching. Some of them want to be a part of that big brand. Some of them love being small independent. Some like being a team.
As you said, there's a place for Walmart. There's a place for Nordstrom, there's 100%. A place for Amazon, and 50 spots in between.
That's exactly right.
Not 50 Shades of Grey, 50 spots. Right. So you can handle all of that. So there's a room for everybody in the space. But what's important is that when innovation happens, whether it's at the Zillow level, whether it's at the technology level, whether it's at the MLS level, or whether it's at the real estate brokerage model level, that innovation creates not a perfect storm, but it creates a storm, right? It creates a tornado or a hurricane or whatever you want to call it, and that impacts everything in its path. And as it impacts everything in its path, you want to be aware of that, because you want to know, when do you fight it? When do you join it? When do you go underground? When do you stay above ground? That's all. I'm not saying that you have to love it or hate it, but you have to be aware of it.
You know what this is for me? This is like just a massive awareness creation opportunity for everyone that's watching right now. We get so myopic in doing what we do. What I'm loving about this is you're exposing them to what's happening out here on the bigger level in these rooms with 300 or 400 people that are truly deciding the fate of the real estate industry.
So let's go #mindblowing.
Yes, #mindblowing. So I love it. What's the number 1 trend? I think I know what it is.
Yeah, I think you do, not because you asked me, because you read my report.
Yes.
Yeah, we think that Teams has come of age. It's been around for a while. It's not new, but it has over time been sort of gathering momentum and maturing.
Yep.
And there, of course, as we said in our report, there are many different types of teams. Not all two teams are equal.
No.
It's a way for a certain older generation that is retiring to transform. It is a way to teach new people. It is a way to maximize the leads which you get from some kind of a portal. It's a way to get critical mass. It's a way to scale. It's a way to, it achieves a lot of points.
Yes.
Where it seems like the station of Teams is there and the trains have been pulling into the station.
100%.
And the number of people that are using Teams in some shape or form, it seems to be exploding. It seems to be growing disproportionately fast as compared to the rest of the market. Now, the whole market is having a great time. I mean,
no doubt.
The last couple of years, awesome. So it's been a great time, but Teams is ahead of the curve. It's going faster than the curve. And that's why we put it at the moment number one. Because I know you're a very strong supporter of Teams, but you can see that many of the big franchises, many of the big companies are also supporting it.
Yes.
And when you have multiple entities, you have trainers writing programs about it and training about it. You have franchises giving courses and manuals about it. You have these companies adjusting their commission packages to do that. You can see it's no longer just a one-horse race.
Yes.
It's now multiple horses.
Yes. So here's the question, though. Someone's going to watch this, and I get this all the time. So is there only going to be room in the marketplace for Teams?
No. I don't like the word all. Don't use the word all. No.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't.
I agree.
I do not believe that when franchising came in, they took over all the business.
No.
There is today just about the same amount of non-franchises as franchises. When Remax came in and they're a great company and they created a new concept, they were very successful. Did they get all the business?
Nope.
They didn't even get to 10% approximately. So there is room for innovation. There's room for change. Never all. And never takes out everybody.
Yes.
Teams is a great way to build a legacy, build a system, build a business, transfer a business, sell a business, grow a business, get scalability. Does it all solve problems? No, nothing does.
No.
Nothing solves all problems.
And the beautiful thing about the real estate industry is it is so accepting, right? The industry is, when you have a great person that knows how to communicate with clients, right, that brings value to their buyers and sellers, you could be any color, any flavor, right, any language. I mean, it really becomes, it's just exciting. It's exciting. This is exciting.
We do sometimes say yes too easily.
That is true.
So we do sometimes without even thinking through it. And I know that we're an industry of charismatic, gregarious, outgoing, flamboyant, A-driven personalities. I get that. I'm probably one too. But so we're all in that same bucket. And not all of you, I know many of you are very analytical, like me too. We should sometimes do our homework just a tad better. We sometimes, I think, jump into where the fire is burning, sometimes without looking and analyzing everything.
Yes.
Preparation.
Yes. So making it easier for people to connect with you, not that they're going to be emailing you, I'm sure they would love to do that. Website that they can go to if they want to be on the list to know when the reports come out?
So the report is easy. It's RE Trends, so RE acronym for real estate. So retrends.com is where the report is every year when it comes out. If you want to try and get me, I'm not as wildly famous as this man on all of the Instagram and social media, but on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, just take my last name, Swanepoel, Swanepoel, at least I can get it right.
Yes.
Yeah. So that on all of the major social media services, I'm fairly active. I have about 155,000 friends and fans and followers.
Yep. I tell people basically, if you care about the industry and you care about your profession, there are just a few people you really need to pay attention to, even just a little bit every single day, week, month, and you're absolutely at the top of that list. So
thank you.
I just want to say as we get near wrapping up, thank you. Thank you for being the first person on Real Talk. Thank you just for being you.
It's awesome.
Thank you for navigating so effectively all these extraordinary leaders in the industry. Not every person here knows directly that the touch and the impact and the love that you have for the real estate business. So I just want to say from all of us and myself and my team to you, thank you to you and your team for doing what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, we absolutely, we don't sell real estate, we don't sell software, we're not a coach, we're not a news service. We are simply the guys that are the most passionate about your future, our industry. We don't want people to harm it. We want to try and see if we can help people like Tom and all of you indirectly and all of the companies to have an opportunity to build your businesses and have a successful wonderful, gratifying life in this space which we call home, which is
Yes.
real estate.
Yeah, love it.
Hashtag thank you.
Yes, I love it. Look at you hashtag dropping. That's awesome. All right. So, hey, guys, thank you so much for participating. If you know some smart people in this industry that you want to share this with, that'd be a really good idea. Lots of information for you to go through. Probably want to watch this at least twice. Take out your notes. Think about the future. Think about what's going to happen. And at the end of the day, what do we know? Your strategy matters, your passion rules, and being ahead of the curve absolutely is the game today. So thank you guys so much. We'll look forward to reading the comments and talking to you all soon. Take care,
guys. Have an awesome one.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. We have a number of events coming up, and we'd love to have you there. Visit tomferry.com/events and reserve your spot today.